Hi guys, it's Reagan and welcome back to another video. Today's video I'm so excited about because honestly I had a blast filming it last time, and just kind of looking at the amount of books that were present in the last video versus this video, it also feels a bit like a long time coming. That's right, today I'm going to be tier ranking every single fantasy book I have ever read. In the previous video I had about 100 books to organize and rank against each other. For this video I have over 180. So in the 2 years between the filming of these two videos, I have added another 80 books to put into consideration, which I think is pretty dang good. Alrighty, so let's just go ahead and dive right into the tier list itself. So to quickly explain how I'm going to organize this, I actually decided to keep all of my categories the same as the previous video. That way, when I continue to make updates to my list throughout the years, my ranking system will stay the same. I think it'll be more fun personally from a comparison point of view. But let's go ahead and run through all the different categories. First is God tier, pretty self-explanatory. The top of the list, my favorite fantasy series of all time. I'm curious to see how many will make that particular tier. Then we have demigod tier, still fantastic reads, oftentimes books I would still give 5 out of 5 stars to, just not in like my top 5 favorite series out there. Then we have great, which I would describe as kind of like a 4-star read, still fantastic, just not quite, of the levels ahead of it. Then we have Heart Eyes. This is a specific category designed for books that have a more romance leaning narrative. I am a sucker for romance. I love romance and fantasy together. So this kind of allows me to rank them within this genre. Next is Middle School Me. Loved it. I have been reading for a long time. Quite a few of the fantasy books that exist within this tier ranking I read when I was a kid. So my viewpoint of those books is very much going to be associated to when I experienced them, when I read it for the first time when I was 12. Would I love it nowadays? Maybe not, but the nostalgia factor still needs to be taken into consideration. Then we have Good, a solid book, maybe not my favorite, but also perhaps nothing necessarily so wrong with it. And then at the very end, we just have No, books I did not enjoy. So let's go ahead and dive in, perhaps grab a drink or a snack because there are a lot, as you can see there, a lot of books to go through. All right, starting off the list, we have The Chronicles of Narnia by C.S. Lewis. This is something I read when I was a kid, but I also feel like it's pretty foundational to me, like as a reader, and I think it still stacks up. So I actually think I'm gonna put this in demigod tier for now. I will be ranking all the books against each other, but obviously I need more books, so that's where that's going for now. Then I have The Arithmetist by Brandon Sanderson. I really love this. This is like a middle grade fantasy. He needs to write more in the series, but I remember enjoying the illustrations and the story. Then I have Shadow and Bone. I did not love this. It wasn't terrible, but it definitely is not my favorite Leigh Bardugo book, so I'm gonna put that there for now. Girl of Fire and Thorns is one of my all-time favorite YA fantasy series. I think it's amazing and very emotional. Same with Daughter of Smoke and Bone, to be honest. This lands. I really enjoyed this series as well. Great angst. I wonder if I should put it in the Hard Eyes category, but I feel like it has more to offer to plot-wise than just romance, so I think I'll leave this here. Under the Never Sky. This is kind of dystopian-leaning fantasy. This was during that era where like Hunger Games was popular and there was just a million books like Hunger Games. This is kind of like that. A similar era of the post-Twilight reading experience, if you know what I mean. This is gonna go in the no category. I only read 2 books, did not love it. Sweet Evil. This is also a throwback. This is an angsty fantasy romance series. I'm gonna put this in the no category. I'm gonna put this in Middle School Me. Loved it because I did love it in middle school. I don't think I would love it now, but I have to respect it for the time period at which I read it. Then we have Good Omens, which I'm gonna put here. I really love this book. I think it's really fun. It's not like one of my all-time favorites, but it's a solid book that I would highly recommend. Warbreaker, I love this Brandon Sanderson novel. It's actually a standalone, definitely going the demigod tier. Next, we have The Coldest Girl in Cold Town by Holly Black, a bit of a throwback. I'm gonna throw it in good, a solid read for sure. Lost City series. This is one of my favorite middle grade series. I'm gonna put it here ahead of The Arithmetist, but I've read all of the books that are currently out in this. I just think it's so fun. And if you love middle grade, I recommend it for sure. Then we have Falling Kingdoms. This is a hard one because I'm kind of stuck between no and good. Like, I think it's like a 2.5 star, but I also think it's like decent YA fantasy. It just also wasn't for me. I think I'm gonna stick it maybe at the end of good, but this could possibly move later on. Next, we have Maximum Ride. Middle school me, I don't know. This is not good. Maximum Ride, I feel like I got frustrated at James Patterson as like a child. And I didn't even understand that he wasn't writing any of his books at the time either. So I'm gonna put this a no. Then we have The Giver. The Giver Quartet, incredible stuff. I read The Giver for the first time in middle school, like many others, and I have reread this quartet multiple times throughout my life and just love it so much. We have Vicious, which I'm gonna put at the top of great so far. This was a really like big moment for me when I read this. This is one of my first adult fantasy series, and I feel like it really introduced me to the genre and I really enjoyed it. Daughter of the Forest, incredible. It's going here. I read this recently. I wish I read it growing up because I feel like it'd probably be in God tier if I had that like nostalgia element too, but it was so good. Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. I wish I loved this book, but it's really kind of a 3-star for me. Like, I think it's good. To me, it's all right. It's better than these books, but it's not quite as high as I personally wished it was. Then we have Neverwhere, which great Neil Gaiman story. I think it's my favorite Neil Gaiman I have ever read. So take that as you will. Written in Red, Heart Eyes. This is a fun urban fantasy, slow burn romance story with some pretty decent action and has good writing. I think it's very engaging. I'm also gonna put the Winter's Curse series here. This is one I read in like early college or high school. I'm not sure if it would like stand the test of time for me to rank it in great. I remember loving it, but I don't know like how much I would love it today, but I do remember loving the romance so much. So I'm gonna put that here. Same with Court of Thorns and Roses. Controversial perhaps, but when I read this, when it was coming out for the first time, it took over my life. Sometimes Sarah J. Maas lands for me, sometimes her books drive me bananas, and I personally thought the original trilogy, at least in this, was pretty dang entertaining. Then we have The Black Prism by Brent Weeks, which I'm gonna put like here. I need to continue my reread of this. I still haven't read the last book, but I've read the first 4, and I just need to reread them before the final book to have the proper context, but I do really like this series. Then we have The Ghost Bride. Oh, I love this book. This book is great. I feel like this book is super underrated and underappreciated. I think it's romantic, but sweeping with great atmosphere and magic. I'm gonna put that there. The Bone Season, I like, but I still don't feel like I like as much as everyone else. I'm gonna put this at the back of great. Tempest in Slaughter, I'm gonna put here. I want Tamora Pierce to release more books in this series. It's a really engaging YA fantasy series that I feel like is written in a style we don't see as often anymore. The Alchemist, middle school me loved it, but I honestly want to reread it because I feel like I would love it to this day. Walk on Earth, A Stranger by Ray Carson, I like. I'm gonna put it here. The Raven Boys, goodness, I'm gonna put it there. This is probably a little surprising. I feel like people love The Raven Boys. I was never really able to get into it. I've reread the first 2 books so many times, hoping to continue on with the series, and it just never really happened. Chain of Gold, incredible. This is like my current YA fantasy obsession. Cassandra Clare has done it again. It's addicting, it's entertaining, it has so much propriety. I am obsessed. Then we have The Kiss of Deception, kind of the same feeling I had for the Winter's Curse series. It's, you know, I remember loving it, but I'm not sure how much it would stand up, but I do recall loving the romance. Then we have The Name of the Wind, which I was for sure this was in the God tier last time I did this video, but I think I'm going to put it down 1. It's just been so long, and I still don't know when the last book's coming out, and it's making me resent it a bit, so it's kind of moved down my favorites list a bit. And when I first did this video, I had not read Robin Hobb yet. I have The Queen of the Tierling. I actually really enjoy this series. I'm gonna put that there. The 5th season, we have our first God tier book. Impeccable, incredible. I love it so much. Then we have Serafina. Honestly, this is hard because it's like this book I didn't necessarily connect with, but I can understand why people like it. So I'm gonna put it at the back of good because it was good. It just didn't knock it out of the park for me. City of Stairs, I love. Top of demigod tier, my favorite Robert Jackson Bennett series to date. Ember in the Ashes series, it's very solidly entertaining. That's gonna go in great as well. Iron Trials is good, it's fun, no major complaint. And I'm also gonna put the Warrior Heir series in good too. Oh, you know, I'm actually gonna put this in Middle School Me Loved It at the front because this was my first Cindy Williams Chima series. I read it in middle school. I have not reread it since middle school, and it was like my favorite series at the time. So that's gonna go there. Then we have Truth Witch, which it's been so long since I've read this. I think I'm gonna put it in good. Solid, but I don't think it's in the great category quite for me. Then I have A Darker Shade of Magic, which I'm gonna put here. Super fun, really entertaining, or do I put it here? No, I'm gonna put it, that felt right. I'm gonna put it, I'm gonna put it here. That feels good. Then I have The Graveyard Book, which I really like. I like Neil Gaiman, it had great atmosphere. Red Queen is gonna be a no for me. I just personally wasn't too much of a fan. Okay, this is my first one I'm like a little scared to rank. And it's a newer introduction in this world. So keep that in mind. And when I say this world, not like the literal world, I mean in my world, because I only just started reading this series for the first time in the past year or so. That is The Wheel of Time. So I am liking my Wheel of Time journey. I'm enjoying everything I'm reading, but nothing so far has knocked me out of the park. So for that reason, it's going at the top of good. And I almost wish I put good on top of Middle School Me Loved It, because it's not, like, good is not a bad ranking. It's like, again, like a 3-star read. Nothing amazing that I would say, like, screaming from the rooftops for everyone to read, but really nothing to complain too much about either. On the 4th book, I have hope that this can get up to here one day, but for now, it's good. Howl's Moving Castle, incredible. This is a comfort read for me. It is a comfort movie for me. It's one of my favorite stories of all time. Then we have Three Dark Crowns, which I'm gonna stick here. One of my favorite YA fantasy series. And then we have Flamecaster. So this is the Demon King, like, series 2, which I love. I'm gonna put this here as well. Six of Crows, also incredible. I'm gonna put that here. Ella Enchanted, oh yeah. Okay, Middle School Me Loved It, but like an absolute iconic person read. It's great. Same with The Midnighters. Did anyone else read this? I was obsessed with Scott Westerfield growing up. The Ugly series, the Midnighters series, it was top notch. Then we have Jim Butcher's The Windlass Arnett. The series is fine. I don't even know if there's been any news about the next installment, but I'm gonna stick that there. Tamara Pierce. I wish I read these in middle school, but I didn't. I only read them for the first time later in life. So because of that, I'm gonna stick them more in the good category, but I feel like I would have loved them growing up. Speaking of books I loved growing up, we have Artemis Fowl, which I'm gonna stick here. So good. Then we have Uprooted, which I just really enjoy Naomi Novik's standalone fantasy stories. I think the writing is just beautiful and just captivating. Ooh, we have The Bear and the Nightingale. Okay, this is gonna go like here. This trilogy I'm obsessed with. Historical fantasy at its finest. Amazing. More Cassandra Clare. I'm gonna stick this behind Court of Thorns and Roses, but still quite high up there. City of Bones. So I'm gonna stick this in Middle School Me Loved It because the original trilogy I did read in middle school and I was obsessed with. Like, Jace Wayland was my life, but if we're talking about the 3 books that came after this that's still kind of connected in the same world, I would put it in no. I really disliked them so much. But the original trilogy I will put in Middle School Me Loved It, and I'm going to put it like there. It was a big moment in time. I'm sure a lot of you can relate. Ship of Magic. Okay, so this is a new series that was not on my last tier ranking. Robin Hobb is my favorite. So immediate god tier, immediate god tier. Prince, which I'm going to stick in Heart Eyes as well, right there. This Savage Song, I feel like a very underrated Victoria Schwab duology, which I'm going to stick here. I think it's very good. Nevernight is a no. It's a no from me, dog. But that's that. Oh, Trials of Apollo. Okay, I actually love the Trials of Apollo series. I think it's so fun. And obviously Percy Jackson and the Heroes of Olympus series like hold up like a closer place in my heart. But I think the Trials of Apollo is so good. We have The Summoning, another Middle School Me Loved It moment. Ghosts and all types of inks. Furthermore is a super fun and whimsical middle grade story. I really like it. I'm going to stick it there. Girl Who Drank the Moon. Oh, this is some good middle grade. That's going to go there. This is beautiful. Listen to the audiobook if you haven't already. And we have the classic Percy Jackson and the Olympians. Nostalgia and demigods. I mean, just by the nature of the book itself, it belongs. Ooh, it belongs. It belongs. It belongs. It belongs. It belongs here. This might need some more shuffling. Oh, Strange the Dreamer. I love this series by Laini Taylor. This is so beautiful. I'm going to stick this here. So beautiful and emotional. Then we have the Scythe series. I guess, is this fantasy? Did I mess up here? Either way, solid YA. That will go there. Queen's Poisoner, also solid. I really enjoy this series. I wouldn't say it's like something I love as much as up here, but definitely like a 3, like in the 3-star reads for me. And I think there's more to encounter and it might move back up to great. It's more so that like these books, I don't know, maybe it should, maybe I should move. I don't know. Maybe I move this down here too, based on that same parameters. Yeah. Okay, that feels better. Then we have The Furries of Calderon. I need to reread this. This was one of my all-time favorite fantasy series when I was in high school. I have not read it since high school. With that in mind, I'm going to stick it around some of these other series that I read in high school and loved. I think I would still really enjoy it, but I should probably recheck it out. But I'm going to stick it there. Then I have Priory of the Orange Tree, which I'm going to stick at the top of good. This is another more controversial pick. I think it's a solid book. It has some major pacing issues for the ending. The writing was good. I love Samantha Shannon's like ideas and her worlds, but I just feel like the ending really let down the entire book. So for that, I'm gonna put it in good. Like, it's still a very good book. It's just, I feel like a lot of people rank it like 5 stars and I personally don't feel the same. Eon, which, oh no, Middle School Me loved this series too. It can go there. The Last Magician, yeah, this is good. This will go like here. Solid. Wicked Lovely, I hated this even when I was a kid. I remember I was trying to fill the void after I finished City of Bones and I picked this up and I despised it. Also, personally was pretty disappointed by Kings of the Wild, which I'm gonna stick here. It just did not live up to the hype for me. And ultimately, it's just not necessarily a book I would go out of my way to recommend. An Enchantment of Ravens. This book is really beautiful and really romantic, and I'm gonna stick it there in Heart Eyes because that's where I feel like that works the best. Graceling. Okay, so before I had to put this in Middle School Me Loved It because I hadn't reread it since middle school, but friends, I reread it and it is incredible, just as incredible as I remember it being. Amazing. It goes up in grade. City of Brass. This is gonna go in demigod tier. There. Yeah. That here. That feels good. Yeah. Yep. From Unseen Fire. I really disliked this book as well. A more recent read for me. Nevermore, a middle grade series. Oh, this is such a good middle grade series. So whimsical, so thoughtful, so engaging. I can't wait for the next book to come out. The Tethered Mage, this is okay. I think I'm gonna stick it here. I don't have much to say. It was just like a solidly okay book for me. Vampire Academy. Oh, I'm gonna say like no. Just no still. I remember kind of liking it, but also was annoyed with all the characters even as a middle school, early high schooler, so I'm gonna stick it here. We have the Poppy War. This is Demigod Status, and it goes here because it is amazing. Senlin Ascends. This is also Demigod Status, and it goes here. Love that series. Wicked Deep, solidly good. Not much to say. Crown of Feathers. This is kind of like at the back of good. I almost want to put it in no. It just didn't really deliver everything I was wanting, but I think I'm still going to give a few more books a try. I'm also going to shift Seraphina up a bit to like here. Then we have Dance of Thieves, solidly good. Here, it's connected to the Kiss of Deception series, but it feels like less romance forward, so I'm going to stick it just in good. Oh, I have two of these. My bad. So Price Guide to the Occult, solidly good. Lyrical, interesting, centers witches, not much to say. And then we have Middle Game. Oh, this was really fun. If you love an alchemic thriller story, this is a great one to check out. I think I'm gonna put this at the top of great. Wicked Saints, that's a no. That's a big no for me. Arusha, fantastic middle grade series full of humor and adventure and folklore. We love it. Trail of Lightning, incredibly underrated. This is a really interesting like urban fantasy story full of monsters and investigation. And I'm gonna stick it around Good Omens. Then we have Merciful Crow. Honestly, a very solid YA fantasy story. Like, didn't necessarily like blow me out of the water like 5 out of 5 stars, but I read it and I was really impressed with a lot of the creativity of the world. So top of good there. Gods of Jade and Shadow, we already know. I love Silvia Moreno Garcia so much. This is gonna go around The Ghost Bride. Fireborn is gonna go around Merciful Crow. I think, again, another really solid YA fantasy option. Shadow of the Fox, similar story. This is really fun. Not necessarily mind-boggling, but also nothing to really complain about either. Ooh, there we go. Spinning Silver. This is one of my favorite books. It's so beautiful and just, I don't know, the story, the structure, the atmosphere, the setting. I love it. So that's going to go in Demigod tier for sure. Foundry Side, which I also really love. And I'm also going to put in Demigod tier, but not ahead of Robert Jackson Bennett's other series, but I still really, really enjoy it. So that's going to go there. House of Salt and Sorrow. You know, good. I'll put it around Wicked Deep, actually, because these kind of give me very similar vibes. And I'm actually going to move this here, and this here, and this here. Yeah, that makes sense to me. Oh, A Winter's Promise. I love this series. This is such a unique and beautifully written YA fantasy story, and I think this will be my first YA series up here. And I'm gonna stick it like around here. All right, I wanna say we're over halfway, so we're getting there. I appreciate your patience as we go through all of these books. Next we have Tristan Strong, which is an incredible middle grade series. I'm gonna put that here. So good, such good writing. I'm a big middle grade fantasy fan, and this is just impeccable. Then we have Serpent and Dove, which is just a big no from me. Not a fan. Once Upon a River is another beautiful lyrical like fantasy story, standalone. I'm gonna put that here because I feel like these books kind of group well together. Storm and Fury is definitely a heart eyes story. Lots of action, very angsty, very steamy. That will go there. Twilight. Oh, Twilight. Objectively a very bad book, but also pretty foundational to me falling in love with reading. And also, I loved Twilight growing up. I was so staunchly Team Edward, but it's also awful. But like, I don't know. I have to put it here. It holds a special place in my heart for that reason. Then we have Sword of Kaigen, which is incredible. This is definitely a demigod tier book. I'm gonna put it here, I want to say. I love it. Incredible. Probably one of the best standalones I've ever read in the fantasy space. Rage of Dragons. This is one that I'm going to put here. I wish I loved this book more. This is another series I picked up wanting to just like new favorite series, 5 out of 5 stars, but it just ended up being just okay for me. Still super good, great combat, just not like a new all-time favorite. And we have Gideon the Ninth, which I'm going to put here, I want to say. To me, no, I'm gonna put it here. No, I'm gonna put it here. Yeah, that makes sense. This is weird necromancers in space, but it's honestly kind of a vibe. Then we have The City We Became, which is fantastic. I love N.K. Jemisin. She can do no wrong in my opinion. And this goes there. Then we have Wicked Fox, which I think is a really fun and angsty romance. I'm going to put that there. Sorcery of Thorns. I did not like this very much. I feel like this is just, for me, kind of overhyped. So that's going to go there. And then White Hot Kiss, I'm also going to put in the no category. A Curse So Dark and Lonely goes in the Heart Eye category. Fun. Angsty. I need to finish this trilogy, but I have read the first 2 books. Then we have Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo, which I really enjoy. I'm a huge like dark academia fantasy fan, so this is gonna go at the top of great. Starless Sea, another beautifully written lyrical fantasy story that I personally also very much enjoyed. Gonna go there. Jade City, one of my all-time favorite fantasy series, and it's gonna go here, Jade City, yeah, right here. This is an incredible, like, organized crime fantasy series, so good, deserves all the hype. We have some more middle school me loved it books. We have Spiderwick and Fablehaven, which are great, would reread to this day. Crescent City series by Sarah J. Maas, The House of Blood and Sorrow and House of Breath and Sky, I can never remember the names of them. I actually enjoyed the first one, and I would put it in Hard Eyes, but I hated the second one. So we're going to put it here. It's still a no, because that is how much I hated the second one. But it's at like the top of no, because I probably will read book 3. You know, it's confusing. I'm confused too. Then we have the Thief series, which I adore so much. And this belongs in the demigod tier category. It's a bit of a tongue twister. And I'm going to put it like there. Yes. Yeah. No. Yeah. Right here. House on the Cerulean Sea. This is a really like charming, heartwarming story. I think it is pretty dang entertaining, and a lot of people love it. I'm gonna put it. Then we have The Assassin's Apprentice. Okay. So, Robin Hobb, my beloved. I'm gonna stick The Assassin's Apprentice here. But this is not the last you've seen of Robin Hobb on this list. In fact, she's next again. This is the Dragon Keepers series, I won't think it's called. Perhaps not. This I'm loving, but perhaps not as much as some of her other series, but it's still demigod tier category. I think I'm going to put it around Daughter of the Forest from a ranking point of view. Jim Butcher, Dresden Files. I don't like this series. I've given it so many tries. It just is not very good to me. I don't like Harry Dresden as a narrator. It's a hot take I get a lot of comments about. But I'm not saying you can't like it. But for me, it just is a miss. And I wish I liked it because everyone seems to. But I personally just do not enjoy it very much. She Who Became the Sun is great. This is such a good new historical fantasy series, and I'm going to put it right here near the top of great, as it deserves. A Song of Wraith and Ruin, solid YA fantasy option, and I'm going to stick it around some of my other YA fantasy I also really enjoy. So there's that. Ray Bear, incredible. Ray Bear is one of my favorite YA duologies, and I'm going to put this higher. I'm going to put this right here. It's so good. Read it. Year of the Witching is good, has a lot of great ambiance. It's fun, good Halloween read. Atlas 6, a book with an innumerable amount of hype. But I actually thought it was pretty dang entertaining, and I'm going to put it there in great. Jasmine Throne, a book I enjoyed but didn't quite love. It's going to go there in good. Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I don't know, the more I sit with this book, like the less I feel like I'm obsessed with it. I still think it's good. I just don't think it's like 5-star reads. I'm going to put this here. The Bone Shard Daughter by Andrea Stewart. Very good. And I'm going to put that here for now. And then we have These Violent Delights. Honestly, I was a little underwhelmed by this series. I'm going to stick it at the back of good. And it's kind of like almost in the no category, but like this one hurts because I really wanted to love it, but it just didn't perfectly land for me. Then we have Legendborn, one of my all-time favorite YA fantasy stories. Absolutely knocked it out of the park. This goes in demigod tier, and I'm gonna put it there, but it's so good. Black Sun is also incredible. This is gonna go in the great category, and I'm gonna put it there. Cemetery Boys is so charming. I'm actually gonna put this in the heart eye category because just like how much it made me feel and how much I loved the romance in this is just like it was so delightful. It made my heart sing. So it's gonna go in the hard eyes category. It's so good. For sure one of the cutest, most romantic books I've read in a while. A Master of Jinn is solid there. The Way Back is really interesting, super unique. I'm gonna put this around Graveyard Book. This is a story set in the 1800s centering Jewish folklore. It was bizarre, but so beautifully written. Mrs. Death, another such a weird book. Probably one of the weirdest books I've ever read, but it really got me thinking. I'll tell you what. So that's gonna go there. Shadow of the Gods. I am really enjoying this series. I'm excited to experience more of this series, and I feel like it has a lot of potential to become one of my all-time faves and even enter the demigod tier. I think I just need more time with it, but definitely high on the great scale. From Blood and Ash is a no. Big old no from me. Very bad. Very bad. Helm of Midnight. Great thriller, fantasy story. Really enjoy it. Really gripping. I'm going to stick that here. Then we have, ooh, we're really getting to the home stretch. We love to see it. Under the Whispering Door. I liked this book. I didn't like it as much as TJ Klune's other release, so I'm going to stick it kind of more around here, but I still thought it was a really touching and heartwarming story as well. Amari and the Night Brothers, amazing middle grade, so good. In fact, I'm gonna add this up into the demigod tier around Nevermore because it's one of my favorite middle grades I have read in years. For the Wolf is just okay. It's gonna go at the end of good, kind of entering into the no category as well, like solidly fine, but nothing that I would like write home about. Actually, I think I'm gonna put this in the no category. I think I'm gonna put it here because I'm not gonna continue on. I'm not. The Witch's Heart, super weird, super beautifully written. I love a weird fantasy book, as we've already established, and I'm gonna put that here. Black Tongue Thief, classic quest, kind of like fantasy horror with like a bizarre quest scenario of unlikely people having to work together. I thought it was incredibly effective, and I'm gonna stick it there. Yep, that feels right. Chosen in the Beautiful, I thought was all right. Gonna go at the end of good. The Beautiful Ones, Okay, so this is hard because this is a 5 out of 5 star read for me, but like it's because of the romance, of how much I love the romance. So this is gonna go at the top of Heart Eyes because it was just so angsty and dramatic, and I loved every second of it. Payback's a Witch. It's just a fun romance story about witches. I will put that there. And the X-Hex, I will similarly put around here. And I'm actually going to move Written in Red up. I feel like this needs to be more like this. Yes. Inheritance of Orcadia Divina, fantastic, family-centered, multi-generational, like beautiful lyrical magic. Again, something I love so much. I think I need to move Six of Crows up a bit. I'm going to move Six of Crows like there. Hayake, this book is good. I'm going to put it here. I thought it was engaging and interesting, but not quite as good as I wanted it to be. The Bone Orchard, super weird, super gripping. It's going to go there. No, it's going to go like here. Yes. Then we have Daughter of the Moon Goddess. I was pretty let down by this book. I'm going to put it at the back of good as well, but again, almost kind of in the no category for me. Maybe in the no category for me, actually. I think I had to put that here. I was pretty let down by this. A River Enchanted, on the other hand, loved this. I thought it was beautiful, and it's going to go there. Justice of Kings, fantastic, and as more books come out in this series, this has a chance to make the demigod tier, I feel like, as well, but for now I'm going to put it there. Book of Night by Holly Black is a no. Very much so, a no. It's going to go there. The Hobbit, middle school me loved it. I mean, truth be told, she did love it. But yeah, I'm going to put this in great. I'm going to put this like there. That feels right. Legends and Lattes. I'm going to put this in Heart Eyes because this is another like super cozy read that just made me really happy while reading it. So for that reason, I'm going to put that here because it's just like a cozy read, and I felt like it really made my heart happy. Leviathan, this is more steampunk, but I loved this in middle school, so this will go there. Then we have The Demon King, foundational read, and I'm putting it in demigod tier, and no one can stop me. So that's where that belongs. Lies of Locke Lamora, here we go, some more demigod tier books. This is gonna go up here as well. Maybe like right there, right here. Still only have 2 god tier books. Where are you, Brandon Sanderson? Oh, okay, it's coming up, it's coming. The 100,000 Kingdoms is demigod for sure. Amazing stuff. And I will put it here. Then I have Fallen. What a vibe killer. Middle school me loved it. It's going there. Post Twilight read. Final Empire. This is a demigod tier read. Almost god tier. This is one of my favorite Brandon Sandersons, but not quite up there. You know what I mean? Still 5 out of 5 stars though. Finnegan of the Rock, completely underrated. Demigod tier read as well. Fantastic YA fantasy. More people need to check it out. Elantris. I like Elantris. I didn't like it as much as some of Brandon Sanderson's other reads, but I still think it's pretty good. I am going to put it kind of around here, like after Good Omens, but still near the top, like mid-range of great. And we have the Fitz and the Fool series, which is god tier. If you want to feel something, read that series. And I have the Clockwork Angel series, which is for sure Heart Eyes. Heart Eyes around here. I cried in my cafeteria when I finished that book. I won't lie. Way of Kings, god tier. Love this series so much. I'm gonna put it here. Then I have Wandla, which is really cute, really charming middle grade series. I'm gonna put it around Furthermore. A Kato Witch is great. I love this YA series. So good. I'm gonna put it around Daughters Milk and Bone by Laini Taylor. Lost Hero is Demigod. I freaking loved this when I was a kid. And I'll stick it around Nevermore there. So good. On a Pale Horse. I need to reread this, but I remember enjoying this. I'll put this around here. Middle School Me loved this quite a bit, actually, and I think I would reread it and enjoy it a lot too. Then I have a Series of Unfortunate Events, which I'm going to put very high. That was very foundational to me. And Throne of Glass. Oh, man. So much of my early YouTube career was centered around how much I loved this series, but I do feel like it fell off quite a bit at the end. I do have a lot of nostalgia for this. I think I'm going to put it in Heart Eyes because I think in a large part, like that's why I loved it. So I'm going to put it here. Yes. The Dark Hills Divide. Ugh, incredible. I'm going to put this around Ella Enchanted. Loved this series. It had great illustrations too. A Discovery of Witches is another Heart Eyes series. I'm going to put it like there. Ruby Red is awful. No. The Night Circus is good. It's on the tail end of great. I feel like people loved this series and I enjoyed it, but I didn't love it as much as I feel like a lot of other people did. This Tamara Pierce series is good. I'm gonna put it around the other one I read. I wish I read it when I was younger. The First Law series by Joe Abercrombie. I love this series so much. I'm putting this in God tier. Such great character work, such a fascinating world. I love it. Grave Mercy, Middle School Me loved it. We're almost done. I'm ending with Game of Thrones. Spicy. The Girl Who Circumnavigated Fairyland in a Ship of Her Own Making is one of the prettiest books I've ever read in the middle grade space. And in terms of middle grade, I feel like it is definitely demigod tier for sure. And the very last book we are ranking is Game of Thrones. Another controversial pick for me. I like Game of Thrones. I don't love it, I feel like, as a lot of other people do. And also the wait between books is just killer. Let's just be honest. It is kind of annoying. So it goes in the good category. Alrighty, guys, that is all 187 fantasy books ranked from top to bottom. Let's make sure I don't want to move any of these around before I lock in this final order. I think I'm gonna move this there. I would say things are looking really good. I'm happy with the order of all of this. I think the no category is hard for me because I hate to just be like no for some books that I think just weren't for me necessarily, but I think might fall into that. Like some of these, I'm gonna move this actually. This is gonna go more like here. But some of these I feel like I could put down here, but it hurts my heart a little too much. But anyway, this is the ranking. Here are all the books. There we go. Alrighty, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed that updated tier ranking video. Let me know down below if you disagree with any of my ordering. I would love to know. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments. But I will see you guys soon with another video soon. Goodbye.